let's talk business.
Let's do it.
We have the one and only. These cats need no introduction. They're young. I don't want to say dumb. Young, smart, have been there before. And I actually, the first time that I met Kareem was actually through social media.
That's right.
And
Or Mr.
yeah, when I saw your social media, I'm like, dude, this kid is super young, and he has so much to him that, you've been able to develop passive income through your years, and you're only, how old are you, Kareem?
I'm 23.
Yeah, 23 years old, man. And I ran across a lot of your social media, and I'm just like, man, how is this kid making $150,000 a month?
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting into Section 8 when I saw that, and I started listening to what you had to say. I'm just like, dude, the new age now is having young guys like you guys that are now in focus markets that people are just overlooking.
Yeah.
So Kareem, you wanna kind of give us a little insight how you started, because you started working at Section 8, which is something that I really like to. Like, you weren't just a kid that saw something like no, you how do you say it? You rolled up your sleeves.
Of course,
And
yeah.
you said, let me really understand this game thoroughly. And now now you got a Rolls Royce, your dream car, doing the whole nine, but you're still hungry to do more.
Yeah, bro. So when I got started, I was 17. I had interned for Section 8 for like 6-7 months. That's essentially where I learned the entire process, the paperwork, how to negotiate with Section 8, how to go through the process, how to screen the tenants, all that good stuff. And I met a ton of landlords, that had 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 properties. And I saw that passive income coming in every single month. I was like, damn, I want that. And it's guaranteed. It just clicked for me. 6 months later, I started looking for some properties. I ended up getting my first deal under contract, $5,000 down. Ended up cash flowing me maybe $600 a month after all of my expenses.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just scaled the portfolio, raised some capital, and just took over the game.
Yeah. What I love about what you're doing is, at one point our country was in limbo. We don't know where something was gonna bust. Even now, people, because of the tariffs, people are kind of somewhat scared.
100%.
President Trump just pumped in, what was it, several $billion into Section 8 housing, I believe.
They actually, everyone's talking about, hey, Trump is going to get rid of Section 8. He might cut funding, their Doge, whatever the case may be, with the new program with Elon. But ultimately, if you saw what Trump just did, they not only maintained the budget that Biden put in place, they increased it by 12% for Section 8. So rents are going to continuously go up year over year over year just because these individuals need housing. It's inevitable. He's just not going to put 9 million people that are on housing homeless overnight. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the economy goes down, a natural disaster too. Like, these were some of the questions that I had too with Section. I'm just like, man, do I got to deal with the tenant? And I love the fact that right now you have a system to where you have a team that pretty much, hey, they find you a portfolio, you have a management company, you have the right appraisers, like you have everything down the line to where everybody is doing their job, and they're all young like you guys. We're all here in Miami, from 18 to about 25, I want to say roughly that's between all you guys that are actually working together.
Yeah, bro. So, what we've been able to develop is a really solid system. Because if you think about what a lot of boomers in real estate think of real estate as, hey, I need to go to the property. I need to check on it. I need to go address any issues that pop up. Yeah, that's essentially the old way of investing. The way that I've been able to build my system is the fact that I have my property managers, I have my team, I have my plumbers, I have my inspectors. If anything pops up, I'm not flying to Ohio to address any issues. Everything's completely out of state. And over 90% of the people that I've mentored do this completely out of state additionally. Like, I'm in California. I'm not visiting my properties in Louisiana and Ohio. And I think it's such an attractive business model because there's so many opportunities in these different cities where you could find turnkey properties under $100,000, but people just don't have the right system to implement it because they think they need to go look at the house. They think they need to go feel it. They need to meet the tenant, but that's not the case. You think if, billion-dollar companies like BlackRock are buying these properties, they're going to go look at every single house. The owner's going to go look at it? Obviously not. They have a team. It's about delegating.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like it too because another big question that you're able to answer me too is was one of the questions I did ask you is like, what happens if the house burns down or somebody gets murdered or something happens? And go ahead, you want to share a little bit on that? 'Cause I think people are skeptical because when you think of Section 8, you think of like, dude, someone, the sewers going down. They're gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the worst problems that could happen in a house.
100%. I mean, there's multiple things that covers our asses with these specific properties. Number one, if a property burns down, let's say I paid $70,000 for it in Ohio, my insurance policy is for $150,000, $200,000. So whatever the replacement cost is, that's what I'm going to get paid. Okay, once the insurance adjuster comes out. You know what I'm saying? So I actually make money. I've had properties that I paid $70,000 for burn down, and I got a check cut for $150,000, $160,000. I'll make money on that. Additionally, in my specific lease, I'll have clauses that protects me. Okay, so I'll have a clause that says $150 of any repair has to be covered by the tenant. The first $150.
Yeah, yeah. So you're able to really put stipulations on these tenants, so they also have a little bit of skin in the game, to where you can't just go in there, punch a hole through the wall.
Yeah.
Just wreck the house and there's no.
Wreck the house and, have no responsibility. No. If they lock themselves out, they're responsible for it. If there's snow in the driveway, they have to be responsible for it. They got to maintain the lawn. We're supplying the property turnkey, ready to go past Section 8 inspection, but they have to maintain the property.
Yeah, so that's your duty. So they still somewhat have skin in the game.
That's correct, 100%.
What is it when a tenant is being difficult? Like, do you give them the 30-day, you got to move on, you got to find another voucher, but you cannot, if they're super problematic, to kick somebody out?
Well, if somebody is extremely problematic, I can actually have them get kicked off Section 8. Okay, so if I already evict them and then we report it to Section 8, they can get kicked off the process. And if you think about these individuals that are on Section 8, they've waited 10, 15 years just to become a Section 8 tenant. They're not going to go ahead and risk, most of the time, they're not going to go ahead and risk damaging that property, getting kicked off the process. It's not worth it for them. They're getting free rent every single month, so it wouldn't make sense to do something silly like that. But ultimately, there's market tenants, there's Section 8 tenants. In order to get a good tenant, you need to screen them. You need to have a good system in place.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You want to tell us a little bit of your portfolio, what you have now, the amount of houses, and some of your future plans that you're looking at, because you're hungry, bro. 23 years old, and dream car, living the dream, financially well off. I mean, what is the goal?
Yeah, I mean, for me, in terms of my portfolio, I'm at 153 single-family houses. I own a couple multifamily things as well. But ultimately, I mean, I want to scale this big. I want to have 5,000, 10,000 single-family homes. I ultimately, at some point, want to create a fund, okay, raise capital and just put it into Section 8 or develop, okay, and only do, Section 8 tenants in there additionally. So multiple things that we have in the works, honestly.
Okay. Well, there you have it. And then we have the young man over here. Arya, want to tell us a little bit what you do? And, I love the fact that you guys, you're zeroing in on a focused market where people just don't think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
25.
25. Okay, so you're the oldest of the group.
Yeah. There's one other guy. He actually left this morning, missed his flight, but yeah, I'm the oldest in the group.
You want to tell us a little bit of your business?
Yeah. So my business model is not necessarily too flashy. Not a lot of people know about it. We were talking actually behind the camera about it as well. I'm in the smog business, so it's vehicle emissions testing. And that's basically what I do. In California, every gasoline-powered vehicle that's 6 years or older, in order to register their cars, to get those little stickers, the registration stickers, they have to pass a smog check. And that's every 2 years after when the car is 6 years or older. So I kind of focused in that market, and I started expanding. At 19 years old, I opened my first shop.
And then, so you've been able to capitalize on having smog shops in the whole state of California.
Not the whole state yet, right? Much like Karim, we do have an expansion plan, but I'm currently sitting at 15. One of my students actually in my program has 3 under contract that he's partnering with me, and we're going to be sitting at 18 hopefully within the next 2 months.
Okay, so you're scaling right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the overall goal with? I mean, I imagine you probably want to take this nationwide.
So not every state has emissions checks. 34 states in the U.S. do. I focus in California, A, because I've been basically raised in California, and B, it's more profitable over there, right? So the price per car is just higher, and California has more cars on the road than any other state by a landslide. So there's consistent demand over there, and then my end goal is hopefully franchising all of these locations.
Yeah, because even if you do just dominate the whole state of California, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing, we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
And how did you guys come into? How did you guys meet?
So Karim and I actually reached out through a mutual acquaintance, I should say, right? And he was telling me about real estate play, and at the time I was in college, and we just kind of started hitting it off. We started calling each other back and forth, and then he was like, "Hey, man, I'm doing this," and it sounded very straightforward. I mean, it just, buy a house, guaranteed rents. I mean, there's not really much else to it. Yeah, I was sitting on a decent amount of cash at the time, and I wanted to diversify my portfolio. I feel like I've reached that kind of fork in the road where it's like if I go too much into my business and I'm reliant on one source of income, I'm not necessarily too comfortable with that. And I flew out to New Orleans, and
How many rentals are you at right now?
a 10. Yeah, we bought that portfolio together, actually. He did kind of something similar that you guys are doing right now. He did everything with me and got the ball rolling from there.
Oh no, that's super cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, these markets, I do believe that, you guys' generation you guys are cutting the bullshit out.
Yeah.
You guys are not going that long way. I think there's a saying where a lot of people were asking, is like, why do they cut sausages from like the top side and from the bottom side?
Mm-hmm.
And people really didn't know why. So then they went down the line. They were able to ask a lot of, the father. The father said, "No, well, you're gonna have to ask my grandfather." And my grandfather so happened to be that the great grandfather was still alive. He was like, "Yeah, we used to cut the sausages from the top part to the bottom because the pan was just smaller, so we couldn't fit it." You know what I'm saying? So it's little things like that we tend to kind of stick to, other than really going outside and thinking outside the box.
100%. So for Henry, I mean, for you specifically, like, what's your goal in terms of how many properties you'd like to own? We got how many under contract at this point and closed? Like 16, 15?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got I got 20 properties right now.
You're at 20?
Yeah, 20, and I'm looking to do more, man. I'm looking to, obviously, I'm a fighter. I'm looking to catch my the next phase in the next chapter of my life. Obviously, I'm super limited. With fighting, there's a shelf life to that.
Yeah.
And I feel like, what is it that I could do where I can get more than face market value, where they're giving me money? And I went back and I thought it's a Section 8 route. So I'm doing 2 plans. I'm doing the Section 8 housing as I'm buying the turnkey ready with you, Karim, and your team. And then I'm doing real estate development, where I'm just building these houses and still using the Section 8, but the equity in Phoenix is just, the equity would just go up as the other ones won't appraise as much. So, talk about like a portfolio diversified. I'm still doing real estate, but it's diversified. Where one,
Yeah, you have 2 sides of the spectrum where, your properties you have closed right now in Ohio are primarily going to be cash flow versus the properties you have in Phoenix, Scottsdale area. Obviously, those are more so going to be appreciation going up at a higher rate year over year. So, you're pretty diversified for the most part. What's your, I guess, 12-month goal in terms of like how many Section 8s you want to be at?
man, I'd love to. I like the 100. I like the 150 mark, man. I like, obviously.
You trying to pass me up, bro?
Yeah, competition right
By
here.
that time, you'll be at maybe 1,200. But I'd like to, man. Obviously, I got kids and whatnot, and you're truly dedicated to the game, and I feel like you're in that position where if you were a fighter, you'd be a world champ because you're so focused on that market and you're day in and day out looking at numbers, making sure everybody's on top of their shit.
Right.
So, for me, I love doing that. I love real estate. Continue the content. That industry is also another cash cow where you get a chance to still talk about the sport that you love and just diversify on and that's where I'm still keeping my name out there, and people still know the Triple C, the persona or whatnot. So, and then one of my last projects that I really do want to start is I want to start doing children's books between the ages of 6 and 10. But like books that really teach kids like real stories told by a real author, which is the fighter in a 10 to 12 page book that has a message behind it. It could be a very, very short read, but I do believe that these books could really make a difference. And I feel like that's also a multi-billion-dollar business. Yeah. And I feel like I'm really looking forward to diving into that and making these books as authentic as you possibly can. Like for me, I'm 5'4", so I'm shorter. I'm not self-conscious about that. I never did, but I'm sure there's other short kids that are like, dude, why am I short? You know what I'm saying? Or, X, Y, and Z. So I think books like that will be a book that could really, give people a boost, no pun intended. But to let them know that, everybody's ability is different.
Right.
Or you could be that poor kid, or you can be that single parent kid that was raised, or you can be that rich kid that had everything. And why compete in sports? Why try to become an Olympic champion? How many fascinating stories are there out there? And I feel like at that age, from 6 to 10, is when you really kind of you're really grasping it. You won't forget it, dude. So these are projects that I have, man. But I think, more than anything, man, I'm really fascinated by what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, for you right now, with the 20 that you have in Cleveland, what is your cash flow on those? I think you were around like 5 something a month on average.
Yeah, no. So it's I don't know if I should say the number here, but it's definitely 30. I'm making 30% of my money. And then within the matter of anywhere between 3 to 4 years, I pay everything back and I own everything free and clear. So stoked about that. I think it's a good game plan that I feel like you cannot lose. I mean, will there be some problematic? Yeah, but if you don't have your people fit and ready to protect or to defend, then that's on you. But I think the fact that you guys have that system going, it just it's a pretty smooth and guaranteed investment.
Yeah, 100%. What we do essentially is, set everything up on the back end. We already have the cities picked out. We already have the management, like I said, all that stuff. So when people get into this, it's essentially just a plug and play, versus a lot of new investors will try to figure it out on their own. They'll try to find their own city. They got to test around. They got to try to find management that works, that can cost them money, work with the wrong contractors, go through all the trial and error. And by the time it's all done, they come back and hit me up after they lost 20 G's. They're like, hey, actually, we want to work with you right now. We want to do it the right way.
People on Instagram do the same thing in my business as well. It's all systems that you have put in place to save the most valuable asset that you have, which is your time.
100%. Time is beautiful, man. You don't want to be a slave to it too.
No.
Because I feel like you could also become a slave to money.
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world, but if you're just working, where's that? And I do believe that that's the beauty part about real estate is it's going to give you guys the ability to travel, stay at the nice hotels, rent the nicest cars when you do travel, So that's great, guys. I mean, again, why share this knowledge with people? What do you guys get out of this?
There's a point, and Karim, I mean, your ideology might be a little bit different, but there's like a point in business or in life that you reach that you just want to help people that might be struggling with the same things that you were when you were coming up in business or you were going through all of those trials and errors, right? Like to try to help people with a new chapter in their life, right? Just like how you said you're in that chapter in your life out, you want to expand in business or you want to dabble in different markets. There's people out there like myself where I'm like, okay, well, if somebody reaches out to me and they're like, hey, I want to open up my first smog station, why wouldn't I be somebody for them to look up to in all of those ways that I've kind of went through?
Right. 100%. To kind of build on that, like whenever I first started social media, which was a while ago, I didn't even have a program or anything like that out. It was like posting content about my houses. Yo, I just closed on this house. This is my 50th rental. And I had people hit me up every single day. Hey, I saw your story. I have this many houses. I want to get into it. Whatever the case. How do you get into it? How do you buy the house? How do you close on? Whatever the case may be. And I saw that I had a significant advantage just because I worked for Section 8 and I did it so many times. So I built the system, got everything set up. We built the mentorship. And obviously, I'm able to teach individuals that would probably never buy real estate.
Yeah, or never get in a business for that matter. Yeah. No, I agree. It's crazy. It just helps you save time. That's realistically what it is. And that's the most valuable asset. You could have unlimited money, but, if you're obviously very old, it means nothing, right? Or if you're extremely, unable to do anything with your time. That's the best part of it.
I feel like you guys are super young to where there's a saying that goes, you're never too old to learn, you're never too young to teach. What message do you have for those who want financial freedom, but yet they're afraid or they think this is something that's skeptical? What advice would you give them? And maybe it doesn't have to be real estate. Like there's something that was built inside you, whether it was desire or something along those lines that said, "Hey, man, I gotta take this chance." And it's not a trick question, guys.
No, it's not a trick question at all. For me, like I've always been that business motivated, business driven type of individual. I always had it in me. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be that person that could really just take over the game. The person that's just wants to be, how can I say this? Like the best version of myself in whatever I do. Okay. So the biggest thing I would essentially say right now is just take action. A lot of people sit back and just absorb information. I know so many smart individuals, right? But if you just have that knowledge and you're not capitalizing on it, right? And you're not taking action, you're not putting your first, foot in the door and you're sitting back and waiting, you're not going to get anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like if you didn't take the action, right, to, say, hey, Kareem, I want to get into Section 8, whatever the case may be, you probably wouldn't have got any houses in Ohio. If you didn't take action to get your first smog station, you wouldn't have gotten started. So it's just about taking the risk initially.
It's about kind of going off of that. It's about kind of having that tunnel vision and not going, just don't listen to what anyone says. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but the last thing you want to do is to get everybody else's advice. The worst thing that can happen to you is failure. And every time that you fail is just another lesson that you learn. That's the best part about any business that you want to start. Either that's, the smog business or that's real estate or, having a professional fighting background, right? Nothing would have started if you don't take that leap of faith in action. The best time to start any project was yesterday. The second best time is right now.
Wow, okay. I'm going to steal that one. I like that. Well, you guys just learned from the great minds, Ari and Kareem. Thank you guys for coming on the show. I am Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C, and we are out.
Peace. See ya.